Let me just make a couple comments about the primaries. We've been really focusing on the religion factor, in the likely impact of the religion factor in the 2008 general election. But of course, religion can matter in the primaries. Given the fact that we have very competitive races in both parties, religious constituencies are part of the mix. And we have in front of you on the table 2 reports from the Pew Research Center, one of them released yesterday, on the Democratic primary race. It's this one right here, and which discusses religion in some detail. And then one that will be released in 20 minutes. So it's embargoed until I finish talking. Michael's already been blogging. The word is out, which is on the GOP race. What's really interesting, there's a lot of rich detail in there, and perhaps we can talk a little bit about that later. But what's been interesting about the role of religion in the primaries thus far is how little impact it appeared to make. On the Democratic side, of course, Senator Clinton has been ahead, and she's been ahead in all of the religious groups, up in national polls, up until recently, and even in most polls ahead even now. And on the Republican side, it's been a little more interesting. White evangelicals have been a bit up for grabs, sometimes Giuliani a little bit ahead, sometimes more of a tie between Giuliani and some of the other candidates. But if you look at white Catholics, if you look at white mainline Protestants and so forth, Giuliani's national lead was replicated in those particular religious groups. In some sense, though, national polls about primary preferences can be misleading because we don't have a national primary. We have a national general election, or at least we have 50 state elections that occur all on the same day. But primaries, of course, are individual events that occur in a sequence. And what these reports do is show how the different religious groups may be lining up in these early caucus and primary states. And there, in fact, are some divisions. For instance, the report that will be released momentarily shows that part of, no big surprise, but it's nice to have strong data, that part of Governor Huckabee's rise in Iowa comes from the fact that he has garnered a great deal of support from white evangelicals in that particular state. We see less patterns, though, when we move away from Iowa for both the Democrats and the Republicans. And it may very well be because the campaign hasn't arrived in full force in New Hampshire and South Carolina yet. Which raises one final point that pertains to the primaries, but also to the general election. And that is that campaigns really do matter. And in this year, where we have religious groups apparently moving around, unmoored from their past partisan preferences to a large degree, then campaigns are particularly important. So the nature of the candidates, the issues that they stress, and the way they conduct their campaigns, and the vast amounts of money that they will spend, may make a tremendous difference in determining where these particular religious groups end up next year.